I'm Ken Gullett. Jing-Chen is a powerful martial art based on 5 fist postures. It's a complete fighting art that includes empty hand and weapons forms, Chen Na, animal forms, and much more. It's sometimes considered a bridge between the external and the internal arts because it sometimes can appear a bit more external than Tai Chi or Bagua. I believe the movements are a bit simpler than Tai Chi or Bagua, so external martial artists can understand them better. The body mechanics of Jing-Yi, however, are very complex. I've had many students who were very good in external arts but found Jing-Yi very difficult to grasp because they were unaccustomed to internal body mechanics. It's a lot harder to perform than it appears. Beginning students around the world usually learn the San-Ti stance and 5 fist postures before they learn their first form, the linking form. Most Jing-Yi schools have a version of the linking form. From school to school it can vary in the order of movements, but all of them contain the 5 fist postures as the primary focus of the form. The linking form I teach, which I learned from Sifu Philip Starr, the founder of Yili Chen, is called Linwan Wuxing, linking the 5 elements. I've been practicing this form for more than 20 years. It's a good form that I and my students have used to win many tournament competitions. It helps you work on the precision, power, and body mechanics that are essential to performing good Jing-Chen. The fist postures can also be used very effectively in tournament fighting. That's the subject of future videos. To do this form properly, you must be able to perform the 5 individual fist postures correctly. I suggest carefully studying and practicing our DVD of the 5 fist postures before tackling this form. In the near future, and maybe by the time you get this DVD, we'll have an online school up and running where you can get feedback and personal instruction by shooting video of yourself performing this form and the 5 fist postures. If you're interested, go to kungfu4u.com for more information. I hope you enjoy this form, learn from it, practice it, and unlock the secrets of mind-shaped boxing, Jing-Chen. When you start the form, open your right foot at 45 degrees. Bring the arms up, bring them over, and sync your energy to Dantian. One mistake people make is they bring their legs out like this. Keep them together. You want to keep your hips underneath as much as you can and stay centered. Don't lean back. Don't lean too far over. Be as centered as you can. Your hands are about Dantian level. Push the ground from the right foot through the fist. It's very important that the left fist is on top of the crook of the elbow, not here. A lot of beginners make that mistake. Also, you're on the center line. This is straight up. The first move is an explosive step forward into Pichuan, follow stepping into Santi. So to do that again, you're going to bring this up. Your hands are going to be on top of each other at one point. Here, follow step into Santi. Okay, from here, you step forward quite a bit and go into the beginning of Bung Chuan. Springy leg step. Step back, and when the right heel hits the ground, fire the ground up through the body. Bung Chuan, midsection. The next one, the left foot goes forward. The right fist hits when the left foot hits the ground. Follow step into Santi. Next, you step at an angle backwards with your right foot. Go into an X block with the hands. Pull the left foot in. Step at an angle backwards with the left foot. X block up, open, and close the body and the fists at the same time. Left palm, right fist. Now from here, both fists are going to come up the center line. You're going to step back at an angle into Bao Chuan. Follow step into Santi. That can be a knife hand. It can also be a block, setting up, stepping backwards into Pichuan. I'm going to continue stepping backwards into Zhuan Chuan. The left foot in a closed cat stance on the toe of the left foot. I'm going to Explode forward again with Pichuan, follow step, crane stance, and then Hung Chuan, follow step. Now I'm going to take a long step back and I'm going to pull the right foot into a closed cat and do a double block, high and low. Make sure it's up there. I'm going to go forward into Chuan Chuan, backward into Pichuan, forward into Bung Chuan. Step. Now the right foot comes out and I turn. Pull the hands in, cross the wrists. We'll do this again in another angle. Now I'm ready to do it again. The other side. Now on the other side, all you do is repeat the same moves, but with the opposite side of the body. So I'm going to go forward very quickly into Bung Chuan. Groin shot. I'm going to step back, establish the ground, solar plexus. I'm going to go forward, and the left fist is going to strike when the right foot hits the ground and follow step. I'm going to step back at an angle with the left foot, do an X block. Step at an angle with the right foot, X block high. Open as I turn, close the body. I'm going to do a Bao Chuan as I step to the left at an angle. With the left hand, I do the knife hand strike. This comes to center. Step back into Pichuan. Step back, closed cat, Chuan Chuan. Forward again into Pichuan. The right leg comes up into the crane. Do Hung Chuan. Step all the way back with the right foot. Bring the left into a closed cat. High low block. Swan Chuan with the left foot forward. Backwards into Pichuan. Forward again into Peng Chuan. Groin shot. Left foot comes out this time, and you turn as if you're blocking. Cross the wrists, pull in. Right foot comes up, take down. And I explode forward into Bung Chuan. End of the form. Bring the feet together, hands up. Done. Bow. A lot of these internal principles are covered in more depth in the Internal Strength DVD, but I want to touch on some as you practice this form. Four of the main skills you need are establishing the ground path, maintaining Peng Jin, Peng energy, silk reeling, spiraling, and whole body movement. That applies to this form as well. So when you open, you want to sink your energy, and you're grounding now. This is down energy. So we're going to go over some of this in the fighting applications in a moment. But down, relax, sink, put your weight in your hands as you sink. You should feel like your weight is melting into the ground, into the floor. Now push the ground from the right foot through the right fist, but stay relaxed. It's sung. It's not tension. It's not limp. It's a state of relaxed readiness. The hips should be under you as much as you can get them. You don't want them to stick out. Now I'm going to come forward here and maintain Peng the whole time, and I want to have the ground when I get through here. Boom! This right hand on this part pulls down, and if I do it fast, it's going to pull down with the same intensity as the left hand strikes. Now, this has downward energy to it. The front hand has Peng. Both have Peng. There's a rounded sense of Peng. The ground is in both hands. And most of your weight is on that back foot. But you know this if you've worked with the 5 fist postures before. Okay, now I'm going to, from the next move, I'm going to explode out into Bung Chuan. trying to keep the hips under. Stand back and shoot the ground in a wave through the body, but it's more subtle than that when you do it in a performance. Establish the ground, relax the lower back, bring it in a wave up through the hand. You don't strike with the hand. One of the common mistakes when people do this first move into Bung Chuan is there is a Dantian rotation that happens here and a dropping of the energy, and then when you do that strike, whoom, the Dantian throws it. One mistake a lot of people make is moving the shoulder too much and then throwing it with the arm. It's not thrown with the arm, it's thrown with the body. So with this Bung Chuan, you want to explode forward, take a lot of ground, and rotate the Dantian to the right to store energy, and then back. So you're going to get low, and you're going to throw this at the groin. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of punching downward. This is not a downward punch. Your forearm's level with the ground. Step back. Now again, the wave of, I'm going to do this from the side. The wave comes up. It's exaggerated, but that's what you're doing. Throwing it with the body. All right, here. Smooth, relax, open, and then close hard. A lot of the power in the internal arts comes from the openings. Here's an opening. Here's a closing. The body's closing in. Close the gua. Close the obliques. And then you're going to open them again doing Bao Chuan. The ground, whole body movement. Your arms aren't moving independently from the body. The fists are moving with the feet. Sink. When you do this move, you can do it fast, or you can do it breaking it up more distinctly. But every time you do it, keep the weight down. Do your best not to rise up and down. Keep the weight down. Sink your chi. Notice I'm doing these movements, but I'm staying on a steady plane. The principles you use for one move are used in all moves, and so all the principles on the internal strength DVD are used here. I don't move these hands without moving my body. The Dantian leads all movements with the ground, whole body movement, pung. The waist turns the hand. When I step back, I'm going to store in the lower back, and that's going to come up in a wave into Pi Chuan. I'm going to again store in the lower back. It's going to come up in a wave into Chuan Chuan. And I'm going to do this on it from a side view. Here. I'm going to exaggerate here. Now when you get better and better at this, you want to make it more subtle, but it's okay to exaggerate it at the beginning. Again, forward. storing in the lower back. My dantian is going to go over. Boom. From here, I'm going to do Hung Chuan after the crane stance, and my fists are going to cross, and my dantian is going to turn a clockwise circle. Wait, drop, close, open, close, open. Open into as you go forward, and then close into Bang Chuan. Just like any form in Jingyi, Tai Chi, Bagua, you are maintaining the ground and Peng throughout every movement, even as you step, even as you move forward and backward. We'll show a little more of that during the fighting applications. The turn. I'm going to do this from the side view. I'm going to put my foot out here, turn, pull in. The hands cross, pull in, sink low. Now I'm going to kick with the left foot up and a straight leg kick with toe out. At the same time, I'm going to do a block, a Pichuan block. This could also be an uppercut. Up and put the ground in your hands. Your knee is on your Achilles tendon. Up, down, downward energy in both hands. Now you don't want the knee to be torqued over one way or another, because it can really hurt your knee. So keep it over the foot as you do this. Knee touching the Achilles tendon, and then explode forward. Okay, we're going to do the fighting applications of Linwan Wuxing, linking the 5 elements. You've been through the movements of the form, and now we're going to show you what the movements actually mean. In a lot of martial arts schools, you learn forms, but you only learn some basic applications. I want to show you some of the movements, and then the first and second level applications for those movements. So the form opens up here. So we've been through the movements, but you raise your arms, you're trying to keep Peng, you're dropping and imagining your energy going to your center, your weight is dropping here. Now, a lot of these movements aren't always to be taken literally. So, you know, in a fighting application, you don't have to stay in this exact position. The Chinese were especially creative, and often they had to hide their martial applications in the forms, and that's why you see some of these forms and you don't quite understand what the application would be. Something like this, of course, there are many of them. If Tom came up to strangle me, you can do that before the strangle hits as a block. If he punched, you can use it that. You could only need one hand. You don't have to use both hands in a fighting application. Practice with your partner on these. If you have a partner, someone who can throw some of these attacks, practice these applications, get them in your mind. So here, boom. I'm dropping my energy into my hands. So it's not a a block just with the arm. None of these applications are done just with the arm or the leg. The whole body has to be into it because you're using internal principles. So the heavy hand, the down energy that we practiced before in the internals videos, you use it here, you relax, but you put a little extra closing into it. Now when I do that, I'm not just doing this, I'm putting the whole body into it with that down feeling. So that's one application. If I came in to Tom and pushed, yep. Good. If I actually did the strangle, you could do the same thing. Yeah. Choke me. Here. Yeah. Here. It's hard to resist that. Now, another application of this would be against a good choke or something like that, would be a wrist lock, and you drop. And you push in on the wrist joint as you drop and put a little forward pressure on the upper part of the hand. That in itself could make someone let go if you do it hard. Now, in application then, you would put that into it and cause a little bit of pain and make them let go. Now this kind of a movement also, remember, as we unlock the secrets of forms, anytime you see a movement like this, with an arm coming like this, if you come up with a push or something, down. This kind of movement is a good arm lock. So, having fun?
Yes.
Okay, grab. Isn't that interesting? I just love these. I love to look at forms and every movement and see what all you can do. So already, that's an escape. If it's the other arm, it turns into a nice little wrist lock. Or you get them in a position where pop. So just in this one move, we've just unlocked at least 4 different applications. It's very interesting. So that's why in some forms like Laoja Yilu, they say there are over 600 fighting applications in this one form. So if you master one form like Laoja Yilu, you have an entire fighting system. You don't need to learn 20 forms if you master one. Okay, let's move on from here. Here, and then you explode out. Boom. In the form, you really want to explode out. And what you're doing here then, that's naturally a block. But you're putting, as we mentioned earlier, the ground from the right foot through here. So if he punched at me, okay, block, grab, strike. If he punches, block, grab, take the head off, go through. Jingyi always moves forward through the opponent. If he grabs, Pichuan, of course, as you know, has many different applications. We're not going to go through all of them because we have another video on the 5 elements and their applications coming out very soon. Here, there. Pichuan. Splitting palm. If he punched with the other hand, boom, right through. Tear the face off, bam. You can choose different targets, of course. It could be the collarbone. If he punched with this hand, for example, bam. The right the shoulder, dislocation. So there are several different ways to apply this particular movement. The next movement in the form is the start of bung chuan. Now, one of the main applications for this particular strike would be against a punch. It's a groin strike. A lot of people, when they start working on this form, they make the mistake of punching down at the ground. Well, naturally, that's not where your opponent is. You know, if you're, hello, it's a windy day in Tampa Bay. It's all right, it gives more movement to the video. Bung chuan is basically just a punch delivered with internal specific Jingyi movement. So, wham! This one lands when the foot hits. The next one lands when you step back and deliver the ground through the body. Wham! The next one in bung chuan lands when the front foot hits. Boom! And you fall a step. So it's very specific and picky, and yet it's really pretty strong. Okay, so in the form we've delivered a groin strike. Okay. Now the movements in any form are not necessarily meant to be a choreographed fight scene where you're doing one after another to one particular opponent. A form is a good way to train each individual application, each individual movement, so that when you have to, you can use it with the proper positioning, balance, body mechanics. He's thrown a punch. I've delivered the groin strike, and I'm going to come back here, deliver a strike to the midsection, the solar plexus. So let's try that again. 1, 2. If he's in a lot closer and I go here, boom, it's much easier then to do bam and really drive this home. And what you do is drive that punch when the back foot hits and you establish ground, the ground comes up through the body. One of the mistakes that beginners make when doing this form is they get here and they're ready to do the bung chuan part, and the shoulder comes way back, and they punch with that arm. And then they step back, punch with that arm. And then they punch with that arm. It's all done with the body. So here, there is a dantian rotation on this first bung chuan, but it's not too exaggerated. Remember, internal strikes are done with the body more than the arm and shoulder. So there is a dantian rotation, and then, but if you notice, the body is throwing this, the dantian rotating over, and then as you step back, you're going to establish ground, and it's going to be a wave. That's exaggerating a little bit, but it's going to go. So this is more relaxed, and the body is throwing it. Make sense? So if I'm in a close-up match here with someone, and we're grappling or something, I can get my hand down here, boom, you know, I can deliver that strike without a lot of distance just by establishing the ground and wham, driving it in right there. And of course the third one in the form, that can be used anytime, but the punch lands when the front foot lands. Boom. And that's meant to drive through the opponent. If we're sparring, if we're standing here, and step up one more step, we're in a sparring situation and you've got your hands like that, boom. Basically, I'm just going to trap as I come in and drive through. It's basically just a punch, but it's delivered in a specific way. And it can be done a lot of different ways. I can just drive straight in, wham, and deliver that punch. It's very strong, very straightforward. But as you can see, it's not delivered. It's like a lot of different punches that you've seen. I'm not going to go, I'm not using the arm and shoulder as much as I'm using the body to take this through in the wave of ground and lower back relaxation that we've done in the internal strength DVD. So once again, you don't use this, you don't use that. Use the whole body. The next movement in the form is here, X block, here, open, and close. This is one of my favorite parts of the form. At the beginning, you step back, open. So, if you come up to me with a kick and a punch, break. So it's an X box. So it's an X block, kick, punch. Now all I have to do is grab this arm and boom, break it. X block. So against a kick, you want to get right in the middle of the X. Okay, against the punch, same thing. And then open, close, boom, right there. Remember, when you strike a lot of times downward in the internal arts, you're closing the body. You're closing into the gua, you're closing in. Jingyi, Tai Chi, Bagua, they're full of openings and closings. So a lot of the power, sometimes it will come from the opening. Sometimes it will come from a closing. So it just depends on the application. So once you're here, the next one is Baochuan. And there are many applications to Baochuan, but the most obvious one is against a punch. Boom. You're using this as a block and a warding off. This wards off, flings out so that your palm is going to be facing outward even though your hand is in a fist. That not only blocks but deflects upward as this upward punch comes in. Baochuan is always done upward. Now there are many applications to these. If he did a grab, I could punch against the ribs or to the face. If he did a high roundhouse kick, go ahead and throw the kick. There are a lot of different ways to use the essence of these fist postures. This is Baochuan. So as long as the punch is upward, block is this way, you have a fighting application of Baochuan. Okay. The next part of the form, here, here, here. So in some ways this could be a strike. It could be against a punch. Generally, I prefer to think of it as a strike. Then this is stepping backwards into Pichuan. Now, stepping back, if he's a headhunter who comes in hard, As I step back, that gives me a little time, and boom, I pull him right down into the strike. So here, here, in the form. That's Pichuan again. Theoretically, Jingyi is always moving forward through the opponent, but sometimes you take a step back in order to move forward. And the next move then is here, Suanchuan. So against a punch, Suanchuan is a fantastic technique. It works in tournaments. It would no doubt work on the street. If you can pull this off against advanced martial artists who are trained, someone on the street who isn't as well trained, they're not going to expect a punch coming from here. Drilling fist. And in the applications video, there are many applications for each of these. In this particular form, so against a punch, right there. Here, so you stepping back, and then once you're here, Suanchuan against a punch. This can also go here. It could go anywhere. Shoulder dislocation, but generally, once you go here, you're going to knock him out, break something, and go a long way toward ending the fight. Suanchuan, a lot of applications. So if you happen to be here and they grab, there's always an application for anything. Anytime the hand's pulling down, that can be a block, it can be against a grab, it could be a pull down into an arm, a wrist lock here. Against the other side, it could just be an escape. But against a kick in this particular move, boom. If he was really lunging in, because most of the time when kicks come in, they have to come down with the body, unless they're really good and going boom and back. But if he's charging in, block, strike with Suanchuan. Suanchuan, they just impale themselves on the strike that comes up. The next move is Pichuan again. Been through that. Crane stance, and then Hengchuan. Of course, the crane stance is, these two don't necessarily go together. If he did a ground sweep by the ankle, now naturally kick is implied too, so doesn't even have to be against a sweep. It could be against a jab or a punch or whatever. If you punch here, boom, you can just get ready. Or maybe he's kicking, doing front kicks, and you use this as a block. And then you can kick. So the crane stance is either an evasion of a sweep or a block against a good kick. Yeah. Hengchuan, crossing fist. This is the block. That's the strike. So if he comes in with a punch, slow motion. The strike hits when the front foot hits. I'm going off at an angle. His power is coming in at me this way. Come on in. I'm going off at an angle. I'm going to let it go by me. I want to get out of the line of fire. But I'm going to strike and then fall a step up naturally. Now this can be a hammer fist. It can be a back fist if I'm in here with the knuckles. If I'm really good and have good hand conditioning and want to use this knuckle on the thumb to the eye or to the temple, that's another one. I don't find that real practical, though. Most of us don't have that kind of hand conditioning. We'd break our own knuckle, especially against a skull, which can be pretty thick. Nothing against Tom here. So this move can be used many different ways. Against a grab. There. It can even be used against a kick. If you throw a front kick. Now all I have to do is keep crossing and I might take him right off his feet, which would be the idea. We're not going to do that here because of the surface, but we will get the mats out. On the applications video, we go through all these and we go through them on the mats, so you'll be able to see that more in reality. So once again, you're using the crossing essence. He kicks, I get out of the way, and I'm here and I cross. Move that, do that action. After Hung Chuan, step back and double block. That's fairly obvious. That could be against a kick, could be against a punch, could be against a kick and a punch. So that's fairly obvious. Not about to that. Follow up with Swan Chuan. Of course, again, against a punch. The rest of this section of the form, the first half, is pretty simple. Against a punch, I do Swan Chuan. If he throws another punch, I step back and do Pi Chuan. Oops. Okay. And then I could follow up with Peng Chuan. So the last of this section then, Swan Chuan, step backwards, Pi Chuan, Peng Chuan. Now that could be delivered here. In the form itself, though, it's to the groin at this part. The turn is probably the most difficult part of the form. And we've just been through it, but basically you put your foot out, you turn, you pull in, come up, down, spring out, and start it all over again. We've been through this already, so now I want to show you the application of this particular turn. And basically it involves a bear hug. So if Tom comes up and gets me in a bear hug, see, trying to keep the mic uncovered. I'm going to step out and drive this in, turn, and I can come up with this strike. I can also do a kick. Adding insult to injury. You can, against a bear hug, boom. Now, after that, if he's up here coming back, or coming back with a punch, I then take him down. Let's try that again, facing this way. I'm going to elbow him with the left side. Now at this point I can come around and here, take down. Really go down hard. But that's basically what that is. I'm going to take him by the wrist. I'm going to take him by the shoulder or the biceps. The shoulder is good because you can press in on that joint as you pull here and take him down. Okay. Don't let me go so easy this time. Bam. He's going to let go if I get him good in the solar plexus, or at least he's going to be weakened a little bit. So that I can turn maybe and go here. If that doesn't work, then I can still go here. I might even use this against his knee as I do that. So that's what the turn means. You're here. Here. Down. Here. Take down. So anytime you see this kind of thing in a form, it's a takedown, an armbar of some type. Now this in the form, this hand generally will come back instead of staying down there. But that's okay, because if you did that in real life, he'd be going down too.